que I am private living, the room beside my bedroom. We will keep moving with things that we are doing. We are working at this time. The third piece of our presentation, New Day in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro State, Federative Unit, City, Rio de Janeiro, 27 April 2022. With the OSM, which means Organization of System by Method. And which is our method? It's the bureaucratic method, the rational and legal method. In general, is a formal method. And we could check in the second part of our conversation, and in the same way in the first, that the criminal behavior as organization is acting by matrix. And we will check that we had these situations, our econometric model, with two types of freedom: the pure freedom and the not pure freedom, kind of a freedom that got contaminated by something, and then you made an agreement as plea bargain or something like this, and then you got the freedom again, or have a big payment to close the trial against you, and then you are having your freedom again. But it's not a pure freedom, it's a freedom contaminated by something that is likely the guiltiness. We will, but we didn't have the punishment, only the guiltiness, and you had your freedom. We will check that indeed this behavior as criminal behavior goes after we have the corruption oriented by finalism as criminal motivation and intent, which permit, let's put Portugal, which permit you switch things. Is this similar to something like this, which presents as a functionality based on corruption, with the density from regular area until the criminal scam? Your trending is proven one more time as criminal trending. It's against the progress of mankind, violated the Article 4, Item 9 of the Brazilian Constitution, which is a premise of my will, freely applied by Article 1, Item 4. You are criminal offender against the Constitution for sure. And this pattern as matrix, which switch things, as you can observe, since yourself presented at the mirror that you won't escape, until the conjuncture as institutional array can be used by nemesis. If you ask me, and would like to be a judge or something, I like and I really love to be, at the administration, executive, doing things, compulsively all the time, non-stop. I like very, very much, with no time to begin and never considering sometimes, things. Only do. Just do it, like the slogan. So, we will check that is like this. A pandemic crime as integration of local crime by international interaction, observed and proven on budget, maybe will not present all criminals on it, but a group of them. In the same way, the corruption of the system as justice can affect the judicial power, because sometimes you have the system of justice with judges and magistrates. I would say magistrates. I don't know how this was spelled in English. And when you corrupt a judge, a real judge, it's a problem for sure, because you are corrupting the judicial power of your state. See? And then you must replace this when this judicial power must act against international or transnational organized crime. In Brazil, we have constitutional word that the institutional power is integrated by budget and the control and things like this. The failure of one implies the failure of them all. Then we'll check on this by failure. Doing permutative things helps you get how things go and which orientation it is. And the intensity of things by values, considering the overtaxation and the condition as a beggar asking investment all around, declared by, a top chair in Brazil. Our vectorial analysis is flawless. Then we'll check that, for instance, on Europe we had the idea at the Constitutional Committee. At the pandemic even and things like this, they are concerned with this. In Germany they ask transparency and all things of us. Have fifth and other elements that must be under the observation as institutions forming the security program, I would say, in each nation, which goes by interaction as our global security. But having failure, we must have the factorization of fails and have only the solid argument on it. It's the rational argument, named bureaucracy. Then we will check that I can switch the application as judicial power by areas. For instance, if I have Brazil and USA, indeed Brazil can be applied because Brazil has an integrated failure by constitution. It's out of the game for judicial power as application. We are working with the OSM, Organization of System by Methods. The methods is bureaucratic method, rational and legal. Check that, for instance, we have America, USA, that can have one specific chair, kind of by democracy elected by their peer, that is solid and have legitimacy to, have the analysis of one system. Let's suppose Brazil. Right. But for instance, America has problems and has problems at the judicial power. It's not on Brazilian public budget, but for instance, they have names at the mafia list as payment for advantage. Let's suppose we will check that, for instance, we will have now one specific judicial system that is not related with the object as be at the mafia payment. There will be no one, it's a joke. But let's suppose that they are not on it, the Germany, because they are claiming all things. The Germany will do now the analysis of this issue at the judicial system America, because if you have the mafia having the ranking list of payments of judicial authorities in USA, the USA shouldn't do this. By the audit will talk this clearly to you. Let's the Germany do this analysis. Now, let's suppose that the Germany has problems with the tax evasion, which imply tax evasion and white-collar crime associated with sports, especially on UEFA League. The corruption on sports going on Germany as international association with payments in an international way shouldn't be under the jurisdiction as Germany. And then we will have another element here, which is, for instance, the UK, United Kingdom, will do the analysis of Germany. Can you see that we are forming a circuit? This circuit, in the end, will present and will have the data storage. We did the investment as 3 billions on security to do this kind of things. It's my investment. I did this as expectation and will be covered. We will check that. For instance, let's suppose that we had a failure in Brazil under the jurisdiction of USA. This failure is spotted. Now, the Germany had the same kind of thing, which is a failure at the judgment, which is generally the application of the law and constitutional guarantees, things like this. In the same way, we will check the United Kingdom. Let's suppose that all these had going at the covenant thing by the silence. The silence of them all had the integration of them all. And now we are forming a design of failure by failure variables. After we have the factorization, it means that we are using American theory, uncovering the view. And we are working with the regression from the criminal purpose until we have this interface -1. When we get inside this interface -1, we have 2 possibilities as behavior or association, considering our model that is at the beach office, that I can go maybe at this weekend because, look around. Then we will check that the -1 indeed can be something associated with the +1, and it's illegal. But sometimes it's something associated with the criminal behavior. And here sometimes I will have special officers on it, or informers, or variables that consider the advices and all things, and they are doing the effort to achieve, and they conquer it for sure. They're not pure freedom. Simple to understand how business goes. I love this crap, for sure, I do. Have a nice weekend. Week. The KRM Bulls, real thing all the time. Design the future to do not have the crap that you did in your past.